great, make no mistake. It's a shake and bake.
What's up, Ramley? You are now in the kitchen with Chef Nixon for all your fixes for the latest and greatest of VCU men's basketball. So, VCU had a game last night, hosting UMass. How'd it go? Let's get into it. All right, so UMass comes to the game with a record of 11-6, coached by Frank Martin, who's a really good coach out of Florida. Very legendary down there, and also assisted by Alan Edwards for the old school VCU heads. You know that he was an assistant coach on Anthony Grant's staff. Really was impactful as far as helping us adjust to college life and just giving us insight about life. Quick story about that. I was a little wild back in the day, but I always go to him for relationship advice, and he gave me a gem. And for all the young men out there who are sowing their royal oats, or for lack of a better word, if you have somebody special, just know the ish has to stop. Quoted by Alan Edwards, and no truer words. But yeah, so UMass, a quality team. However, they have some issues. The team consists of a lot of transfers. You have Matt Cross. He's been all over the place, but recently for Louisville. Isaac Conte is from LIU. Rasul Diggins is from UConn, and they have more. So it's like they just like a lot of other teams are dealing with the transfer issue and trying to build something and put guys together. And one thing I'll say about the transfer portal is it's very hard to do. You know what I'm saying? It's very hard to get a guy who has the talent, but also has the personality and genuine, just a good person who wants to be there to build something. A lot of the times, you got to deal with guys who are only looking out for self in that portal. And then you have guys, you have what the portal was really supposed to be for. Like, if a coach leaves, you have the right to leave when he leaves. But now it's an easy way out for people. And you have to be careful about who you bring into your program because they could be a cancer. Not saying that's the case with them. However, they have a lot of talent. And since they got in the A-10, they've been kind of on a downslide. But the team is very capable. The issue is inconsistency. And that is something that's, is going to be around with a lot of teams in the country. I seen something the other day where Florida Atlantic University and Florida Atlantic University and Charleston, University of Charleston, were ranked in the top 25. However, there was a game between Georgetown and Villanova, and neither team was ranked. It was the craziest thing to see. But with the transfer portal and what it did, just allowed every team to get a mixture of talent. So the gap is no longer really there. You have your teams like Houston, who they look really good. But it's hard to really get all these different players who have this experience, like or have baggage. You know what I mean? It's like you try and choose the right girlfriend, but depending on her past, she may bring her past into this relationship. So so it's really difficult to do. I think that we're doing a really good job of keeping our core guys and bringing some transfers in that fit our personality and fit our culture and what VCU is trying to do. So, example of the inconsistency, UMass went on and beat St. Louis, who's predicted to be one of the top teams in our conference, which I really think they are. Yuri Collins is doing a really good job down there of leading those guys. But then they'll turn around and lose to George Washington, who's 8-8 in the pack, and probably won't be a top 4 finishing team in the A-10. So off them onto VCU. VCU is coming off a fresh win off Dayton. Big, exciting win. Now number 1 in the conference. So how do they respond to that? How do they bounce back? How do they take success? Some people, we did it, and they relax instead of being hungry and striving for better, and striving for greater things. How we respond to that? because UMass can be world beaters, depending on which UMass shows up. You know what I'm saying? So I really think, and also with Richmond on the loom, you know what I mean. So they're right there, and we play them Friday. It's very tricky. It's almost like it's a trap game for us, right? Um, so let's get into some of the game. First and foremost, I want to say the first thing I noticed about UMass is they are massive. Not only like did they match our height, but they had a lot of guys with girth on their team. How that would impact us, I think, is more so of if you see at times we struggle to get offensive boards against them because they're just so big and athletic and crashing glass. It was crazy. You could definitely see the difference. But when it comes to that doesn't necessarily mean that they can really impose their will on a team just because of their physicality. Same football. Um, so honestly, I thought that the UMass we seen in this first half, for basically the first 18 minutes, they were playing as if they were world beaters. We would make a play, and they would make a play. Nick comes down, gets a dunk. Next thing they do, they come down, knock down a three. And shout out to Nick for being on Sportsman Top 10 I think it was number 10 with a two-hand punch over Isaac Conte. Love to see it. I'm a huge Nick fan. So the game was nip and tuck, right? Uh, it was a battle of I make a play, you make a play. It was strategically trying to remove Ace Baldwin from the game. Ace would try to come off a ball screen, and like I said, they're so like built. Their players are so built that they were just trying to blow it up by pushing Ace out. And they had some success with that early on. You know what I mean? But however, we had other players make plays. Um, and along with that girth, what they were doing, they were getting opportunity after opportunity. And you got to commend VCU for not folding, because if you didn't know, I'll let you know now that after a shot goes up, the chance of you making a basket doubles. So if I shoot a 30% shot, if we get the offensive rebound, it's basically a 60% chance that we'll score the next shot, right? But I think VCU did a really good job of, even though they did get on the boards and they did have some offensive boards and second chance opportunities, we did still a really good job defensively of not allowing them to convert that into points. That's a huge thing, and I think that was one of the biggest things that that really let us stay in the game and until we had a chance to go on a run, right? Uh, and I think like the game was nip tuck, and I said to like 18, 17, maybe even like 16 minutes. But I think one of the momentum plays was Brandon Johns getting a steal. He brings the ball up the right side of the court, close to the benches, makes a smooth in and out move, baseline, drives, attracts the defender, and makes a beautiful kick to David Shriver for the three. Boom. The stew blows up. Now, mind you, it's still a little back and forth after that, but everybody was energized and the crowd was so into it. And I also want to give a shout out to all the Ramley that showed up yesterday. It's crazy how one win can change everything, right? Now, don't get me wrong. I think there's times where we showed up, a little back and forth. You know what I mean? But UMass isn't George Mason or Richmond or Dayton. They're not. They're not. You don't really think of a sellout or close to a sellout when you hear UMass. Nor do they have the record or the reputation to be this great team that it would bring all these fans in. But there was something in the air after this Dayton win that really started to get people to buy in. This was a Tuesday night game where people starting to buy in because they're starting to see the results and the fruits of our guys' labor. You know what I mean? So big shout out to the Rambler that showed up yesterday. The blackout, it looked beautiful. The shirts were dope. I'm not sure if Eddie Johnson does them still, but Eddie Johnson's my man, and if he doesn't do them, he need to do more of them because that's my man. So that play produced energy, allowed us to go on a run to really close out the half with a lead from 40 to 33 points, right? And I like to add how we've made a big adjustment. Excuse me. Black tea. Love it. Can't drink it in the morning though. So I love how we made the adjustment to get off to better starts. And that's in the first half and into the second half. It makes a big difference when you don't have to fight back and get back into the game, right? Imagine some of these games where we were trailing lead going into the half if we were just even. If we were just even, or maybe 1, 2 points down, how we come out in the second half, how many of those games we would have won that we lost early on. Mind you, some of those games we didn't have our full team. Mind you, some of those games we were still trying to learn ourselves and da-da-da-da-da. Everybody finding their role. But just imagine that, because we are really thriving in the second half. And the reason we're able to pull out wins is because we're getting off to such a better start. Not only in the second half, but the first half. We're not going down 13-2, having to use a lot of energy to get back in the game, putting pressure on each shot. So now Shriver is able to shoot with confidence and with no pressure on his shoulder. I got to make this. I got to make it. I got to make it. Now it's just, oh, cash. Now you see he's starting to get, oh, that's why we recruited him. Yeah, that's right. So everything matters, right? Everything matters. So we're doing a really good job of that. And the result of that is our offense is starting to be more relaxed. People are starting to play a little bit more freely, starting to play for each other more. And what that results in is 2 40-plus point halves. When's the last time you've seen that in a VCU uniform? 2 40-point-plus halves. And we're shooting. Yesterday we shot unfathomable 8 for 16, basically 50%, 50% from three and 52% for the game from the field. And with our defense, it's going to be really hard. And speaking of our defense, we gave up 33 points in the first half. Do you think we let up or we fought harder? And we fought harder. I'll answer it for you. We fought harder. So stingy D, UMass only scores 22 points in the second half, shooting 29% from the field. Now, partial of that is, of course, the VCU effect, what we do. If you don't play like this, it's going to be hard for you to play like that. If you don't do it every day, it's going to be hard for you to come in here and try to replicate that in 2 days for preparation to play a VCU team who's finding its stride. But also, how many threes did UMass take? Does anybody know? I watched the game, and I'm sitting here thinking, wow, they're really shooting a lot of threes. They're shooting a lot of threes. They have all this physicality and all this and all these big players, but they're shooting a ton of threes. Let's see. They shot 25 threes. They were 4 for 25 from 3. So what does that tell you? They should have tried to do something different. Duh, right? However, I think that our defense played into that. One, the threes they were getting, they were trying to get them in transition. If you don't practice that way, it's hard to do that come game time. I thought we did a really good job of digging our post, our front court kid and play. Did a really good job of walling up and guarding their bigs on their first shot. And then our guards did a good job of digging in, going down there to help. And they had to kick it out. But we did a good job of contesting at the end. Whether they were open or not, we did a good job of running out there and playing hard and sprinting and contesting every shot. That matters. Even if you don't think, if you're not there to block it, the fact that you give them something, you give the offensive player something to think about, the effort is appreciated, and it does contribute to misses. Whether you have a hand in their face or not, the effort matters. So I thought that's something they did poorly. So partial of our success is them just not playing great basketball. If you're not making threes, try to drive, put the pressure on the officials to call fouls, slow down the game, make VCU adjust to you just being pounding the paint. But they didn't do that. They didn't really make the adjustments I thought they could. Parts of that could have just been players being selfish, players being mad at each other. I could see a little bit of that with UMass. But VCU's total pressure every single play, nothing being easy, no pass, no cut, no shot, nothing being easy, nothing given to them can cause that type of frustration. So I was very, very impressed by that. And I was talking to Brandon Rozelle after the game, and let me tell you something, man. As far as we've had great defenders come through here. Vince, great defender. Briante, great defender. Darius Diaz, great defender. Right? Jamal Schuler, great defender. We've had great defenders come through the VCU culture and through the school. But I will be hard pressed to find 4 guards that play defense like Nick Kern, Zeb Jackson, Ace Baldwin, and Jaden Nunn. You'd be hard pressed to find it. I think that all 4 of these guys guard differently, but effectively. Nick Kern probably he doesn't get the steals as everybody else. He's starting to get some now, but he doesn't get the steals. But he guards. I've seen him guard 1 through 5 basically, and put up a good effort, taking charges, getting steals, diving on the floor, deflections, block shots. He does it all. But Zeb Jackson is making it difficult to get it up court. Ace Baldwin, as soon as your last day is good with the ball, he's going to take it from you. Jay Nunn is going to be a pest and pest you all up the floor. Like these 4 guys here are doing such a great job on defending the perimeter. It is crazy to think about. It's crazy to think about because when you think you get a break, you know how, does anybody remember that clip? I think this was from the finals when maybe the Heat were playing the Spurs. LeBron James is at the line. You hear the horn. He takes a look back. He sees Kawhi Leonard checking into the game. He goes, now imagine that. Now I'm saying that these guys are Kawhi Leonard, but imagine you just had Ace Baldwin guarding you, making it very difficult for you. And then immediately after that, Zeb Jackson comes in and is making you work 94 feet. You get no break. You get no break. And that is something that is going to be hard for teams who don't have multiple guards to bring that ball up without being fatigued when it comes to second half. I'm just telling you, it's hard to do. It's hard to do. Anybody who had to bring the ball up against somebody who wants to just be there 94 feet, I don't fight it. I pass the ball and I go up the court. But even when you pass the ball, that guy is being guarded by Nick Kern or Jaden Nunn. So it's like there's no rest for the weary. And I love it. I absolutely love it. I think that's one of the things that's going to make this team very special. And I just want to add this. When you play your game and you star in your role, everybody shines. Everybody shines. Just to throw this out there. The Dayton game, we had 6 people. We had 6 players in double figures. This game, we had 19, 10, 13, 12, 2, 6, 6, 12, 3. That's 5 guys in double figures. You know who wasn't in double figures? Ace Baldwin. It's no dig to Ace, but that is tremendous that we have our leading scorer, the head to our team. He only had 2 points, and we stomped out UMass 83-55. When you star in your role, everybody eats. There's no need to force anything. You see the results. You know what I mean? Like, you see the results. Everybody's getting a touch. Make the best of what you're doing. Don't thrive to be and play and get. I want many shots. No, just play your role. The ball will find you. When it finds you, do what you do. And this is team basketball we're playing right now. This isn't ace or bust anymore. This is complete team basketball. Ace is going to have games where he explodes for 20, 28 points. But now what we're seeing, Deloach can do that. Brandon Johns can do that. Jada Nunn can do that. You know, there's so many different guys that find a way to score, and there's so many guys that find a way to impact the game without scoring. Now, I don't know how many times I got to come on here and tell y'all. It's Ace Baldwin and Zeb Jackson. The vision, I still giving Ace the edge, but the vision is there. Coming off the bench and having 12 points and 5 assists. That's tough. That's tough. But we're all sharing the ball. One, two, three, four. 4 guys with 3 or more assists. Beautiful. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. 29 points between kid and play. I love that. I love that. Let's not forget, Deloach is a sophomore. I think he has a lot more growing to do and a lot more skill development too. But wait, 19 and 12 is anyway. We'll discuss it. So let's get into these stats for UMass. Matt Cross had a pretty good game, even though they got stomped. 15 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists. Excuse me, he came to play. DeAndre Dominguez chipped in 10 points as well. That's damn near half their points. VCU, Jalen Deloach, another monster game. 19 points, 12 rebounds. No text. Nick Kern, 12 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, a gang of highlights, 2 or 3 monster dunks, and a top Sports Center top 10 appearance. Shout out to Nick Kern. Killer. Love him. My low-key player of the game, Zeb Jackson, 12 points, 5 assists. He's looking like he's really starting to get it together. He had a terrible game against Duquesne, but since then he's been bringing energy and bringing positive vibes to the team when he gets on the court. Keep building on that because these guys are basically sophomores, and it's showing that VCU has a very, very bright future. All right. So moving forward, we got the wannabes across town, the itsy bitsies. I just like them forever. All right. So Friday night, we got to take care of business, right? VCU's net ranking is constantly getting higher and higher. We just climbed from 97 to 84. And I can only imagine it would continue to jump if we continue to take care of business. I don't want an at-large bid. I don't. I'd rather win everything, the regular season and the conference. But just so happen we get cheated. Just so happen we get cheated, or something. God forbid anything else happen. We want to put ourselves in a position where we're eligible to get an at-large, and we have to continue to win. We got 2 votes in the AP top 25 polls this week. We have to continue to win because now that we're playing real team VCU basketball, the country is slowly but surely starting to take notice. Don't get hype. Don't take it for granted. Don't be jealous of someone else's success. Encourage your teammates and continue to thrive for greater things because you're not there. At the end of the day, who cares about these wins right now if we don't take care of business when it really, really counts? Like I said, we ran off a win streak last year, and then we fumbled the ball when we needed these wins. You know, we probably would have been in the tournament if we took care of business in St. Louis. You know, and then we still had an opportunity. We had to win two games in the tournament, and we lost the first. And I'm gonna keep bringing it up because I need the guys to stay humble and stay hungry, because all this means nothing if we don't continue to grow and get better. This isn't the best we can play. We can still play a lot better. There's still more for us to do. There's still more for us to prove. 84. Can't be satisfied with 84. Only 84 I'm satisfied with is Randy Moss. Shout out to him. He a GOAT. 84 is nothing. Let's continue to play. We're playing great right now. Let's continue to try to get better each and every day. A wise coach once told me, if you ain't getting better, you're getting worse. Let's continue to get better. Thank you for letting me cook. And until next time, peace.